All right, we'll get started. We'll now open it up with an opening statement from Iowa head coach Jensen, followed by questions.
Well, first off, I'm just so grateful to be here. As it's been well documented, our program has had just a major change since about a year ago. I got the job in May, and we lost a couple of goats, and Caitlin Clark and Kate Martin, Gabby Marshall, that whole class, and obviously my dear friend and mentor, Lisa Bluter. So this year has been filled with a lot of change, and I couldn't have been blessed with a better group. We've just had a great time growing together, and we've had some incredible highs. We've had stretches of adversity, and when I think back to where we were about 6 weeks ago, and then to end up getting just a really respectable 6th seed, I'm just filled with a lot of gratitude. So I'm thrilled to be here. It's a heck of a field that's here. I know we have our hands full starting right off the bat, but boy, I'm just glad we got the opportunity.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about.
Excuse me, can you wait for the microphone?
Sorry.
Yeah.
Jan, I wanted to ask about Kylie Fierbach coming back next year and how important that is for your efforts next season, defensively, shooting, et cetera.
Yeah, we're thrilled that Kylie is returning, and what we've done with all those COVID years, even back to the kids, Monica Sonano, if you followed our program, we never ever made a mandate of timing. I just feel like it's is anything in life. If you're in a job, if you're retiring, if you're switching jobs or whatever, there's a timing process. And we told Kylie that, like we've told, all of the kids that have played for us, hey, we'd love to have you back, but we want you back if you want to be back. So we went through the year, and Kylie even went through senior day. She wasn't sure, but then when she kind of slept on it, she knew. And I was thrilled. I think to have that type of quality of a person, first and foremost, is just such a blessing for our program. She's a great teammate. We're going to continue to be relatively young again next year. We're obviously losing Lucy Olson, Sydney Affolter. Those two have been key cogs in this season. Sid's leadership. So to have Kylie be able to come back, and with our incoming freshman class, and we have some pretty good freshmen playing with us right now, to have Kylie's steady hand and her defense is going to be really, really good for us moving forward. So I was extremely pleased. And if any of you saw the little social media post of when she announced it to our team, I think that tells you all you need to know about Kylie and about, I think, our team culture.
Right here in the front. Please reminder to state your name and media affiliation before each question.
Hey, Coach. Jack Birmingham, Daily Iowan. I like that you acknowledged, the field's going to be pretty tough right off the bat. Murray State is the highest scoring offense in the nation. Defense is definitely going to play a huge role in this game, especially with, players like Fierbach, Affolter, forcing turnovers, Stuelke being your top rebounder. What role do you think defense will, pretty much have in this contest, and how do you think your team plans to execute it?
Yeah, I think, I've spent a lot of my life in the Valley, so I have incredible respect for the Valley, and incredibly impressed with Murray State. And even we had the day off of practice, the semifinals of the Missouri Valley tournament, and I was watching Drake because their coaching staff is a friend of mine. I spent some time at Drake, played there, and they were up 30 when I turned on, and I've never seen Drake down 30 many times in my life. And I was like, oh. Now Drake did close the gap, but I remember thinking, man, that team's hot. They're kind of fun, right? And then the next day we get the draw, and I was like, oh gosh, we got Murray State, right? But that's what's fun about the tournament. But their story, I think, is really cool. A former player leading them. Every time I've seen their staff on the road, they're just hardworking, quality people, and it seems like they're really at a great trajectory in their program, and they're really a hard guard, but in a really fun way. I think both of us like to go fast. We're probably going to try to minimize each other. They go a little faster than us, and back in the day, 2 or 3 years ago, maybe we went as fast. But I think defense will be key. I think shot selection will be key if you're not hitting. I think that's true for both teams. Shot selection is not a big thing if you're scoring, right? If you're hot and you got 1 pass, 2 pass, and you're shooting and you're hitting it, or you're not really reversing the ball, but if you're making shots, it's all good. But if you're not hitting shots and you can't get the discipline for shot selections, then I think that's where the story will lie. And I think defense will dictate that. Also, I don't know if you guys saw I was watching Shaka Smart, one of his interviews after he's like, they asked him, what team do you think will win? And he said something to the effect, he's like, well, I think the team that fouls the most, but they don't get called. And so I don't know, maybe there's something to that.
Hi, Coach. Logan Whaley with WPSD TV. So you mentioned the style. You mentioned Murray State having the highest scoring offense. How difficult is it to prepare for a team like Murray State, especially not having played them in this season?
Yeah, it really is, because they have a post that's really that most of us haven't faced. I liken her. Markowski for Nebraska can hit a trail three. She can set a screen and she can pop for a three. But, you don't see them as often. Caitlin Young she's really good. Obviously, her 3,000 points. But what I really appreciate, I think, in pure shooters, a lot of shooters, they like to be in rhythm. You're coming off a screen, you catch, you pivot, you score. You know your play. You're coming from a cross screen. It's a fake and it's a go. She's one of the few players, especially at the elbow. They run a lot of great stuff. So everybody's talking about their transition. They run a lot of great sets, a lot of them. She'll catch it at the elbow, and she's a heck of a passer. She'll look, and doesn't like it. And when her defense's hands are down after about 2 seconds, she's able to pull it, and it's nothing but net. And that is a very underrated skill that I don't think people talk about with great shooters enough. Usually if you make someone think about it, their percentage goes down. I don't think that at all about her. She's a heck of a post player. I would have, I think I would have loved coaching her. Highest respect.
Right here in the back.
Yeah, Cliff Brund, Associated Press. You spent an awful lot of time as an assistant, 25 years at Iowa, before that at Drake. Can you put in perspective what it means for you to be in this position right now for the first time after all these years as an assistant?
I don't even know why I'm joked up. I think that tells you all you need to know, maybe. I think what's cool about it is there's a lot of different ways you can go through this thing in life, right? You can set your goals and you tell the world what your goals are and you're going for it. And I went through a lot of different things in my career because I started Drake. I love Drake. Lisa Bluter coached me, became one of my best friends. We left Drake to go to Iowa, wanted to challenge. And then I had some different coaching jobs. Some of my coaching friends or frenemies, they always critiqued that I stayed. Why are you staying? You shouldn't, you should go. And I have a strong faith. And I was just so content where I was. And that sometimes is so different in this world. Everybody is telling you got to do this, you got to be that. And I really loved my role. I loved it. Jenny Fitzgerald, Lisa Bluter, we coached together a long time. And so when they went off, I was wanting my shot. And I'm so thankful to Beth Getz and President Barb Wilson that they gave me this shot because it doesn't often happen that way. So often people say, you got to go to grow. You got to go to grow. And I'm probably one of the small percentages that got to do it with who they wanted to do it with for as long as that was an opportunity. And then for me to be able to get the dream job, just a different share. I had the dream job, but a different share. And then have my staff's hold. Abby Stamp played for us. Raina Harmon, great, one of the top assistants in the country. Tanaya Davis played for us. She's our player development. To have them stay, and then I got Randy Peterson Henderson to come back. Her husband also played basketball at Iowa. Randy played for us. So then to take over this job that has just been a prize jewel for everybody. And I don't mean that in a cocky way. We know what Caitlin And Lee said everybody did. So for me to sit here and be in the NCAA tournament with all the twists and turns, I feel really, really grateful, really thankful, because it's hard to make the NCAA tournament. It's hard to do it, and to do it consistently. So long-winded answer, but I'm just a really thankful coach that got a shot later in life, and we're having a blast. And I hope we get to have a blast for, at least another game and get another shot at the next game.
Stay over here to the right.
Ethan Petrick, Quad City Times. You got 2 Waterloo West alums, one on Oklahoma, one on Murray State, and Hallie Pook. They both played for All Iowa Attack, played for the teams that a lot of your current players came from. What do you remember from Hallie and Sahara on the recruiting trail? And then to put yourself in Hallie's shoes, what was it like to be a mid-major player going up against the big state school, especially on a stage as big as March Madness?
Well, I just thought that's really an interesting thing, how both those Waterloo West kids have ended up in the same pod, right? And I recruited the heck out of Sahara Williams. I mean, she just is fantastic, explosive. Recruited Hallie as well to a degree. But Hallie is really good. And that's always, the situation. There's a lot of great mid-majors where, there's other kids in their position a little bigger, a little this or a little that. And so it comes down to splitting hairs sometimes. But what you'll see of Maya McDermott at UNI, Hallie Pook at Murray State, Katie Dennebeer, one of the most fantastic guards at Drake University. The size, boy, they're still really, really good. So great respect. It's just sometimes when you're recruiting is, sometimes you go with size or you go with a kid that's a little this or a little that. So just tremendous respect. And Hallie Pook is a baller, crafty. Boy, you don't want to give her much space. But I remember watching them. I mean, I probably watched them in, 30, 40 games because they played on the All-Iowa Attack. But they're really, really good, and they've had really, really great careers, and they're enjoying moments. And I'm not surprised at all that they are.
All right, last one over here.
Coach Jack Birmingham again, and last question for you, I guess. You've talked a lot about this team being very young, and you're graduating. Was 5, now 4, fourth years next year. So what do you think is kind of the dynamic on this team right now? The fact that you'll sub in Stremlo or Guyton or Hayden, then have them playing alongside someone like Olsen, Fierbach, Fulter, and how do you think that could potentially work to your advantage against an opponent you've never seen before?
Well, I think the thing this year is when we started to hit it is the young and old started to blend. Early in the non-con, it was really our youth that was helping us have a lot of success. The veterans were tight. They were wanting it so much. And then as we flipped and we started to settle, it was the vets. Lucy started to settle, and Sid started to really lead. We shifted Hannah from the 4 to the 5. And then we started to use the youth as, more in the subbing role, right? So when we started to become a little bit more consistent and successful, the blend started to be a little less noticeable. And when it was a little less noticeable, then it was you were seeing just a nice flow and being led by the people that really needed to lead it because they'd been there before. So now what I hope happens is that our vets can have the moments that they've dreamed about so very long, but we get enough experience moments for these young kids to help us have success for this year, but also down the future. So for us to beat Murray State, we're going to have everybody play really well. I don't think we can't have an off night. You can't think about having an off night or off morning. So I would like the blend to be unnoticeable in the sense who's in and who's out, but to also look really, really good and really sharp.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you so much for covering women's basketball. Appreciate it.